Hello students, this is Aarti Goyal and today we are going to discuss about farming for food. In this chapter, we will discuss about various stages of farming, some primitive agricultural instruments, types of crops, crops based on seasons, Indian farmers. So, let's start. We eat a variety of food every day. Some of us have toast, parathas or chapatis. Some have idli and some others have halwa or bread and omelette for breakfast. Most of these food items are obtained from plants or animals. For example, a loaf of bread is made of wheat flour while an idli is made of rice and dal. Where do the sources of our food items such as wheat and rice come from? Let us discuss. Steps in farming. As you have already read, crops like wheat and rice are produced by the practice of farming or cultivation. It involves several stages. Preparing the soil. The soil is prepared first before seeds are sown. It is made loose by a plow to allow air and water to pass through. This process is known as plowing or tilling. Earlier the plow used to be pulled by humans and then by cattle like oxen and bullocks. Nowadays, plowing of soil is done with the help of tractors. Leveling. After the soil is plowed, it is leveled. This is done to break large chunks of dry soil into small pieces. Leveling is done with the help of a harrow. Sowing seeds. After the soil is ready, seeds are sown using a seed drill. A seed drill consists of long vertical tubes with a funnel-shaped structure at the top. Irrigation. Water is very important for the growth of plants. Different crops require different amounts of water. Irrigation is the process by which enough water is supplied to the growing crops. Wells, tube wells, ponds, lakes, rivers, dams and canals are the various sources of irrigation. Earlier, farmers used to depend on the monsoon for irrigation, but the rains are very erratic. Hence, there was a need to develop a proper irrigation system. Traditional methods of irrigation involve pulling water from wells and canals and irrigation the fields. Old techniques of pulling water from the well are moat, which uses a pulley to draw water and irrigate the fields. Chain pump, dhekli and rahat. Irrigation in modern times is easier with the construction of dams. Water from dams is carried by canals. Water sprinkler is also used for irrigation. Adding fertilizers. Manures and fertilizers are added to the soil to add nutrients to the crops during their growth. Pesticides and insecticides are also sprayed on the crops to destroy pests. Harvesting. Harvest is the process of gathering mature crops from the fields when ripe. After cutting the crop, grain is separated from the stalk. Traditionally, harvesting or reaping is the cutting of the crop using a scythe, sickle or reaper. Then the grain is separated from the stalk. This is done by threshing. Threshing is the loosening of grain or seeds from the husk and straw. Threshing may be done by beating the grain using a flail on a threshing floor. This is followed by the process of cleaning through winnowing. Winnowing is blowing air through grains in order to remove husk and straw. The farmer sells the crops to buyers. A crop like wheat is ground in a flour mill to make flour. After that, it is packed in bags and then marketed. This flour is then used for preparing bread, bun and chapatis. Do you know many different dishes can be made from the same grain? Similarly, rice grain is used to make idli, kheer, pulao, biryani and firni. Types of crops. Crops grown for food are called food crops. Cereals like wheat, rice, maize, oats, pulses like beans, grams, pea, oilseeds like mustard, sunflower, and other crops like sugarcane are example of food crops. Crops grown for commercial purposes are called cash crops. Jute, cotton, rubber, sugarcane, cashew, and most plantation crops are cash crops in India. Rabi and Kharif crops. Crops require different climatic conditions to grow and complete their life cycle. Based on seasons, crops are classified as Rabi and Kharif. Rabi crops. These are the crops which are shown in the start of winter and harvested in the spring. The Rabi crop is also called the spring harvest or the winter crop. Major Rabi crops are wheat, barley, pea, mustard, and sesame. Kharif crops. Kharif crops are usually sown with the beginning of the first rain in July during the southwest monsoon season and are harvested in October. The Kharif crop is also called the autumn harvest or monsoon crop. Major Kharif crops are millets, paddy, maize, green gram, groundnut, red chilies, cotton, soybean, sugarcane, turmeric, and sesame. Indian farmers. Majority of Indians population lives in villages. Most of them are farmers. An Indian farmer is very hardworking. He takes his plow and his cattle and goes to his field even before it is full daylight. His life is full of difficulties. We find him working on his field, sowing, plowing, or reaping in biting cold of winter as well as in the hot winds of summer. In spite of his hard labor, he lives a life of extreme poverty. He is born in debt, lives in debt, and dies in debt. His crops are at the mercy of rains. Famines or floods often take away his harvest. There are evidences of suicides by farmers in many states in India. To make a farmer's life happier and healthier, the government today is taking some important steps. Government's plans regarding waiving of huge sums of loan that have benefited the farmers. Besides, scientific methods of agriculture are being introduced to improve their condition. The Jawahar Rozgar Yojana was launched to improve the condition of life of the rural poor. The institution of Panchayati Raj seeks to give power to the people who work out their own destiny. High quality seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides are also being provided to him.